Thank you, Mr. Chair. I, too, rise in strong opposition to this essentially lawless bill that is unprecedented and a serious attack on the self-determination rights of Washington, D.C.
Yep.
At its core, this legislation gives President Trump sweeping powers here locally, and as noted by the ranking member, it would immediately terminate the term of the current District of Columbia Attorney General Brian Schwab. And this bill is wrong for several reasons. First, it's plainly undemocratic. It denies D.C. residents the authority to choose their own AG. As was noted earlier, 42 states directly elect their Attorney General, while 7 other states allow their governor, state Supreme Court, or the state legislature to appoint the AG. But here you would have the President of the United States, without even Senate confirmation, to be able to select their AG. This denies D.C. residents representation. Second, this hands Donald Trump complete and total control not only of D.C.'s criminal system, but also its civil system. That is a massive shift we're talking about, because the Attorney General here in Washington, D.C. oversees not just criminal cases, but all civil litigation, deciding with whom to sue, whom to settle with, and whom to defend against. It also prosecutes juveniles for local crimes. As things stand, the U.S. Attorney, who President Trump appointed, prosecutes adults for D.C. crimes. The President also appoints local D.C. judges, and if you add the D.C. AG to that list, President Trump would effectively control all of D.C.'s litigation, prosecution, and courts. That is an overwhelming and alarming concentration of power that we're seeing, and Donald Trump, of course, in the last 9 months has shown nothing to us to persuade me, probably anyone reasonable in this room, that he has the best interests of D.C. residents at heart. On top of that, at this point, it's fair to say that there is a stark politicization of our federal agencies, and it's deeply concerning to imagine that the Attorney General here in D.C. would be appointed by D.C. As was pointed out earlier by the ranking member, Trump earlier appointed as the acting U.S. Attorney for D.C. Ed Martin, who was so extreme, who so politicized his office that the Senate Republicans would not confirm him. And this is important because this person would have the right to decide who to prosecute for civil or criminal actions, and Trump would be in the perfect position to continue politicizing justice here in Washington, D.C. Imagine, for example, if one of President Trump's allies or someone here in Congress committed a crime, and I think that actually happened not too long ago with one of our Republican colleagues. President Trump could direct his Attorney General to not prosecute, could in fact direct his Attorney General to prosecute his perceived political enemies or critics. And if you think this is imagination, just watch what's happening right now with Bill Pulte with the FHFA, who is illegally, I believe, going through the mortgage records of political opponents of the president and creating baseless mortgage fraud allegations. Imagine an Attorney General here in D.C. with essentially unlimited powers to decide who to prosecute, who to go after civilly, based on the political directions of the president. Third, and importantly, this bill presents a massive conflict of interest that President Trump would certainly exploit. If he controls the appointment of the D.C. AG, he also controls which consumer protection cases get pursued or ignored. So take a recent example. D.C. AG sued a crypto ATM operator for taking advantage of the elderly through illegal hidden fees. Given President Trump's ties to the crypto world, this raises serious doubts about whether he would support similar enforcement mechanisms. In summary, I would say that this bill is textbook federal overreach. It is lawless at its core. It is undemocratic at its core. It is un-American at its core. And it depends entirely on the largesse and generosity and good morality of the President of the United States. And why don't you imagine if this is a Democratic president, to my Republican colleagues, who has limitless power to appoint our D.C. Attorney General, limitless power to decide who that person might decide to prosecute or not. This is a lawless, un-American bill. I urge my Republican colleagues to vote no on this. And I yield back the remainder of my time.